Professional Lunch is grateful for Lindsay Bini Photography. Lindsay brings all the passion and emotion in every picture that she takes. For your wedding and your graduation and for memories, find Lindsay Bini Photography on Facebook, Instagram, and their website, lindsaybini.com, to see how you can book your session today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Rico Aladdin and I am the founder of Professional Lunch. Today we have Moses Oteh. I hope I say the name right. And if not, he's going to correct me later when I ask him to tell me who he is. So I'm going to give him a chance to tell me who he is and what he does. So, Moses, tell me who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you very much. By the way, I want to say it's a very big honor for me to be visiting with you this afternoon.
Thank you.
Like you rightly said, my name is Moses, and as a matter of fact, you said it as if you came from Cameroon, which is my native land.
Okay.
But Moses Oteh is a father to four, married to one of the most beautiful women in the whole wide world.
Wow.
I'm a pastor. At the same time, I'm a special education teacher.
Okay.
And also a financial professional.
Okay.
So I got my hands full with quite a few things.
Okay.
And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so how long have you been a pastor?
Being a pastor, I started off pastoring as a children pastor.
Okay.
I've done that for more than 20 years.
Wow.
And recently graduated or chose to pastor adults about 7 years ago.
Okay.
So I've been pastoring adult or the main church for about 7 years now.
Okay. So how you said you are a teacher? Where do you teach?
I taught at South Middle School in Grand Forks.
Okay.
We recently moved out here to Fargo.
Okay.
So still trying to settle in. But yes, I was a teacher at South Middle School in Grand Forks.
Okay.
With the Grand Forks Public School District.
And I understand that you do something in financials. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I was very privileged to come in contact with a very knowledgeable person that now is a friend. That taught me some very key financial principles.
Okay.
Because sometimes everybody knows how to make money.
Yeah.
People actually go the extra mile to make money. And unfortunately, as hard as we work, most people end up very, very super broke. So I learned some very key principles that really revolutionized my financial life, and I decided to take up a study and get licenses, in that field of life. And right now, I kind of give free education to as many people as would want to learn a little bit about how you could make money and not lose money. Okay. How you could, want to secure a more reasonable financial future in terms of retirement, in terms of college fund for kids and all of that. Okay. All of that good stuff. So yeah.
Do you have do you teach that at your church or do you teach friends?
So I do sometimes put out notice in certain groups when I come in contact. For instance, I'm getting to know you. If you happen to be a member of a community, you could talk to them about me and they could request for me to come provide free education. Okay. I do that in the church, just like you said. I also have Zoom meetings. I run Zoom meetings every Thursday. Every Thursdays I run Zoom meetings during which, a lot of people connecting just to, to tap into, what we've had the privilege to access in terms of knowledge about money. So that's how we do those.
Can you summarize what you teach them about money? In let's say, in a few sentences.
Okay. Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, like I said, there is a lot about money that, except we're given the privilege to look into the details. A lot of people, for instance, when it comes to the subject of retirement, people think about how much they want to have at retirement. People don't think about the influence of taxation and things like that on that. So we try to expose people to to create awareness that in your effort to build cash for the future,
Okay.
it's easy for you to factor in the impact that taxation is going to have on what you have accumulated.
Yes.
And then we also talk about, people, reasonable people want to put away money for college save or for college fund for the kids. And there are many portfolios or different options that are offered out there. And some of those options, in my humble opinion, are not the very best because they have a negative relationship with the opportunity to get free grants, to get, student grants and stuff like that. So we show people other options that are available out there where you could have money put away for college and at the same time it does not impact how much you're able to access in terms of grants from the government and stuff like that. We teach people how you could make money, you can grow money and not lose money. The majority of options that are available out there to grow money, people only know situations where you put away money. It's more like you're gambling.
Okay.
On the market. If the market is doing well, you're going to do well. If the market is crashing, you're going to lose money. We show people how you can be able to grow money and be at zero risk of losing any money.
Wow.
That's what the wealthy do.
That's very interesting.
We kind of really expose people to what I consider top secrets of the wealthy. They don't gamble with money. They know what they're doing. So there is a lot more we could talk about, but that's just a piece of it.
Do you teach people about budget, how to budget their money?
We do. It's not something I go into details with, but definitely we can give free advice on
how
budgeting and emphasize on the need to make sure that you're living within your means and you're not exhausting everything you have and stuff like that. So we do that at a smaller scale.
Okay. I understand. So very, very, very interesting. I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of people using your service right now.
As many people as have been able to learn about us, have been excited, have been very happy that they got to learn about us and they got to learn what we were able to, to show them.
Okay, that's very good. That's very good.
But we still think that there's still a bunch of people out there.
Okay.
There's still a bunch of people out there that I wish would find us out.
Okay.
Because as a pastor, I have a heart for the people, and it really aches me. Yesterday I sat down with somebody talking about their finances, and I had not realized how minimal people are paid. And they told me they made, sometimes you just see there and somebody says I make $15. Just because everybody says $15, you think that's money, affordable money people can live on. But when I took it down and I calculated that amount by 40 hours, I realized, how do people even survive on this kind of income? And then on top of that, there's taxation. On top of that, you're supposed to think of, putting away something for the future. So if people, like for instance, seriously, I'm not any different. Before I learned these principles, even as a teacher, I wasn't putting away enough money. I didn't think that I had enough money to put away. But I think these things are very, very helpful when we get to learn them.
Wow, very interesting. So now we're gonna talk about. I want to touch a little bit on the teacher side of your career because you teach. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, so I my teaching life started with children pastoring kids, and I think that is part of what motivated me or gave me more reason to go into the teaching field. So I'm specialized in special education. Actually, I'm a special education professional. Strategies, handling all kind of special needs, learning disabilities, emotional and behavioral disorders, autism spectrums. Kids on the autism spectrum, and a variety of different special needs. That's more or less what I do.
Okay.
So some years come and there's enough staffing. I narrow down my scope to a particular need category, and then sometimes you find yourself in a school where staffing is insufficient, and you have to provide services to a wider a range of needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, your story. You said you have such a great story, and I am sure today we won't probably won't even have time to dig into all of it. But I'm curious to know a little bit about your background. How did you come up to become a teacher? How do you get to be, in the financial world, helping people with their finances and stuff like that? I'm curious to know a little bit more about your background.
Well, so if I go all the way back, in the far back, I grew up from a very humble background. Lost my father when I was 2 years old. So literally, the one thing that really helped me to become something in life today, I think, is because I've Christ found me when I was young. In other words, I became a child of God when I was very young, as young as 10 years old. That kind of gave, focus in life to me, because in the community where I grew up, a lot of the other kids that we grew up together who didn't give Jesus a place in their heart, I saw that they ended up very miserable, because, like I said, it was a pretty tough society, community or something, and a lot of evil atrocities. That was a way of life, and just because I was privileged to have Christ in my life, that gave me focus. And so that's how I came up. So went to, like I said, growing up now, found myself in the need, to teach children in the church.
Okay.
And haven't done that for so many years, because I actually started teaching children when I was pretty young, in my middle school age years.
Oh, wow.
And so through that interaction with kids, I think that is part of what nurtured me and prepared me for, because for some reason I have a soft heart, and I think that's what kind of propelled me into the field of special education, which is a field that I really, really, really enjoyed, working with kids with special needs.
Okay. All right. We're gonna take a little break here so that we can get our food to order our food. This is professional lunch, and today I have Pastor Moses with me. He's telling me about his story, and we will be right back after that. Professional Lunch is grateful for KBLM Consulting. KBLM Consulting is a group of experts specialized in advising and guiding anyone who wants to study in the United States. So find them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and their website kblmconsulting.com to see all the other services that they provide. We are back with Pastor Moses today, and he was in the middle of telling me his story on what he does. And now, Pastor Moses, I'm curious to know what are the things that, tell me 3 things that you really love about what you do, whether it's in teaching, or whether it's in helping people financially, or whether in pastoring.
Wow, that's a very big opportunity there for me to share my heart. All 3 of the things, or the career, call it career, profession, whatever. All 3 of them are very rewarding in the heart, in my opinion, because when you talk of special needs, that's a group of people that don't get enough attention.
Yeah.
They struggle, their parents struggle, and so to be there for them, to be able to be there at least for those couple of hours, to come along with them, to support them, is very rewarding. To be able to watch them grow up, and be able to do something just because you were able to make an academic input into their life, because we're able to support them through learning a skill. It's very enhancing. It's such a blessing in my heart, So that's one thing I like about, being a special education teacher, that I can come along these parents and support them in their process of raising a child that eventually is able, to be better than they were
before.
growing up,
Okay.
So to me, that is a very big blessing. Of course, the pastoral, that's more like, it's very key to my life, because as humans, sometimes, or most of the time, a majority of the people don't realize that we are here on earth on temporary basis. People live like this is it. Like, actually, a musician sang a song and said, "Let's eat because tomorrow we die." But what they don't realize is when you die, you're just transitioning into a life without death. And that life could be a life of suffering, or it could be a life of fun. So to be in a position where you can redirect people, you can point people back to a life that is going to come after here, and to help them be reminded that, just like I teach in finances, you don't have all the fun with all the money you have now and forget to remember that there's a tomorrow. And drawing my inspiration from the story of Joseph and Pharaoh in the Bible, where Joseph advised that, hey, there's going to be 7 years of hunger that will come after the 7 years of plenty. And so what we need to make sure that when hunger comes, starvation comes, we will still be able to beat it, is to be able to save away some of the food. That's kind of, I use that principle, to teach on the need to save, and also that directly tells us living here on earth that, hey, there's a life that is going to come after now. So don't live your life like you don't have a tomorrow. There's a tomorrow coming. So either of what I'm doing, it's such a blessing, because it's all about pointing people to something that most people forget. There's a tomorrow, so don't forget. Live with reservation, live with anticipation, live with expectation that tomorrow will be good for you and not bad for you. So those are some of, if I would say, the three things that make me feel happy about what I do.
Okay. Can you give me an example, for example, that of something that you do, of somebody that you help, or maybe a case in in teaching some people with special needs, that you can, anything that you feel that you want to share, that you feel that is really that touch you.
So I have a family. I have a student in Grand Forks that I have grown very close to the family, because the kid, his needs are pretty challenging, like heavily challenging, and so sometimes it becomes a little too demanding for the parents to be able to handle their job and still be able to to take good care of the kid. So what I do is sometimes I offer my hours during my off-school hours. I go out there, take that kid out, we go play, we go run around, we go do stuff, we go places, just to give the parents a break. And the fact that they recognize that, and the fact that they appreciate it. As a matter of fact, it isn't long that they call me and say, hey, if you had an hour, we'll still be very happy that you can drive all the way here. We can put gas in your car.
Wow.
But this little man, will definitely enjoy hanging out with you again. So when you are able to bring that relief, that emotional relief, that, you can get burnt up just because, or burnout, just because, because of the demands of these needs. So to be able to be there to support them, not only because it's a job, but even after my work hours, to be able to do that, for me, is very rewarding.
Wow.
It's one of the things that I quickly remember in my teaching field that has left impact in the hearts of not only the kids but the family too.
Wow, that is very, very, very nice. I am glad to know that helping people is always rewarding. But there are people that you help. The helps is more rewarding. When you help them, it's more rewarding. So
Absolutely.
it's really good to hear that. So can you think of maybe an example in the financial, people that you show them how to put money away, whether for school or for their retirement, where had you not been there, they would have such a big problem with taxation or a different, different other challenge. Can you think of an example?
So, yeah, so by the way, when we even talk of taxation, it's not like anybody's supposed to try to avoid taxes. Everybody's supposed to pay their fair share.
Yeah.
But the point is, some people pay more than they need to.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think anybody wants to pay more, right?
Yeah, and the reason is because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't know what we're doing, so we end up paying more than we need to.
Yeah.
And that is why I can be a business owner and make a lot more money. I employ you, and sometimes you pay more taxes than I did.
Yeah.
And I made a statement in one of my meetings. I said the wealthy are thriving because of the ignorance of the middle class. Yeah, we are stuck in the middle class. Well, let me not digress. So, but one of the families that I had, helped with their finances. By the way, I would say that I was a very big example when this person came up to me for the first time to educate me on this, because these are very profound. What some people really wonder what finances are not taught in school, to the extent to which financial freedom could be achieved or attained. And I think the reason is because this is very strategic to keep that stratum, to keep that difference, to maintain that gap. Because if people only knew what to do with the money they have, before long, it's going to really close up that gap between the wealthy and the middle class. So this guy showed up and provided us with this education, and within 1 year, we've been able, as a family, we've been able to save more money in 1 year than we were ever able to save in 10 years.
Wow, that's pretty
So
good.
I use myself for an example, because I know my finances. Within 1 year, I should be more specific to say a year and a half. Since we learned this, I have saved, or we have saved more money than we ever did in 10 years.
Wow, that's remarkable.
Yes.
Wow.
It's probably not going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people. But if you came from a community where, like I said, I came from a very humble background, and a lot of people with humble beginnings also who look up to you. Hey, you are out there in America, you have some money, don't forget us, support us.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get into the habit of sending out everything you have. You make it, you satisfy other people and don't forget and don't remember yourself. So now I learned, and I'm able to distribute it in a way that while they have a share, I have a share.
Yeah.
And everybody is happy.
Yes. Oh, wow. Okay. We're gonna take another break here, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about the challenges. I always say the challenges are the most important part of the conversation, because knowing the challenges, anybody who wants to be in such in this field or doing what Pastor Moses is doing and would want to know about the challenges. We'll be right back. Professional Lunch is grateful for InfoSec Title. InfoSec Title is bringing you all the latest in cybersecurity news. So find them on LinkedIn. We are back with Pastor Moses now. We're going to talk about the best part of the conversation. We're going to talk about the challenges. Now, Pastor Moses, doing what you do, I can only imagine that I can think of 1,000 of challenges that you might face. But right now, I want you to tell me, what do you think are the first 3 challenges or some of the top challenges that anyone who is a pastor or a teacher who teach people with special need, and someone who is helping others with their financial will face, as they do that? So feel free to give me many examples.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. I, Definitely, it doesn't matter how glorious a particular path of life that somebody chooses, there are definitely obstacles
Absolutely.
and challenges. So I'm just going to speak from my position, from my experience. As a pastor, one of the big challenges that I experience is a 21st century Christian who does not respond very well to the truth, who interprets the truth for judgment. Because the whole goal of the pastor is to prepare a people for Christ, for the return of Christ, for the rapture, if I should put it like that. But here you are dealing with some people who don't see your effort, don't interpret your effort as a goodwill effort to get them ready for that journey with Christ. Some look at it as if you are intruding, as if you are getting into their personal life. Or why is he talking about? Then it makes pastoral very difficult.
Yeah.
Because pastoral is not a job. It's not just a dollar earning opportunity. It's about transforming life. So if somebody comes to church and they cannot want to change, it makes the job, not only do they not want to change, but they don't even want to give you the opportunity to support them towards a change. So it makes pastoral very frustrating. It makes pastoral, you question, why do I have to do this? If, of course, good enough, there are enough people to give you the reason to keep going, as much as there are a couple that are just there and don't seem to be ready for anything, any change. That's one of the big things that I'm still trusting and praying that people will be able to realize. That's the reason there are pastors, so people's hearts can be changed.
Okay.
As a financial professional, I realize that everybody enjoys using money to the extent where most people don't realize, as good as it is to use money today, is going to be as good to use it tomorrow. People don't realize that, so they use up everything. So when you educate them, they're excited about wanting to to put away something, but the lack of the will to take the step. So they hear, they appreciate, but they do nothing about it.
Wow.
It's
The inaction bothers you sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the truth is, like I said, for me, it's more like if I truly come across somebody who needs help, I almost take it very personal to make sure that I bring them through that path or bring them through that obstacle. And then you stretch your hand, and they don't return a hand. So you can't bring them over. It becomes very challenging, very frustrating. And of course, special education. People tell me that you have to have a heart of gold to be in special education.
Yeah.
And that's one field of career that is always short-staffed. You could have so many science teachers in a school, and so many others waiting to be admitted or to be offered employment. Special education, not so many. And the main reason behind this is just the fact that it's easy to burn out, because maybe you have to be in a safe contained room, like it was my case. You are in there, you don't have the leisure to be out there in the hallways every time. You have people that really need you in there. So it becomes a challenge. You start wondering, for how long will I do this? How long will I be locked up in a room with kids, trying to support them and stuff like that? So it quickly leads to burnout.
Wow.
But the biggest challenge I have had is to work with parents who don't recognize your efforts, who don't appreciate your good heart. or you are putting in maybe something that they judge to be inappropriate. They capitalize on that. Probably don't even give you the opportunity to explain. Probably don't even have the patience for a dialogue, and they try to escalate it. You ask yourself, should I really be doing this? Was there really a cause for this kind of escalation? You know, so those are some of the obstacles when it comes to practicing in the fields that I have practiced. Those are a few of the obstacles.
Wow.
But in either way, it is what it is. You go as your heart leads, and yeah.
Wow, I can tell you, I can only imagine that, you know, these challenges that you face them, and you know, that you find a way to deal with them, if in fact you have, you know, I'm curious to know if something that happens to you, that if something like that happens, how do you deal with them? And if it doesn't, how do you suggest that if it happens to someone, you know, how do they deal with that? You know, like when it comes to, especially for the special need kid, when the parent situation. So if something were to happen when the parent escalate the situation, right? Can you think of an example, if if you have one, of course, but if you don't, what do you suggest someone out there listening to this do in a situation where, you know, the parents are taking this where where it's not even supposed to go, or they don't give them a chance to explain? What do you say?
Well, so yeah, that's a very good question, because it's very central. But on the get-go, the goal is for you to be professional, and for the administration, school administration, to know you. If the school knows you, the parents don't know you a lot, because they just come and go. They pick up the kids and they're gone. School administration should know you. If they do know you, they can be able to say, yeah, this guy can do this. Yeah, this guy cannot do this. And that settles it. Now, when it comes to dealing with a parent who is not understanding, who is not cooperating, the way that I got over those kind of experiences and attitudes is to remember the reason for which I'm into this.
Oh, wow.
I'm smart enough to do just anything I want to do in life. But why am I stuck in special education? It's because of the kid. So I redirect my focus to that. The parent is a distraction.
Wow.
You look at the kid, you look at them into their future. I mean, project them. Look at them with the eye of faith. What do you see them becoming tomorrow? That's what is going to keep me going.
Yeah.
The ups and downs with the parents, we can handle that, but that's not I didn't come into this for the parents. I came into this for the kids.
Wow.
So the parents are not going to cut off the opportunity to support these children. So we find a way to work around that with the parents. It could become very smooth again. It might not be as smooth, but at least we're able to work together.
That's good.
But the focus is the kids. So when you maintain the focus, when you can remember and remind yourself that I'm here for the kids, it gives you some power to be able to keep going.
Wow.
Yes.
Very important.
On a personal note, one thing I do is pray. I pray for myself. I pray for my kids that I teach.
Wow.
And that also brings grace to move on.
Wow. That's very good. That's very good. Wow. We get to a point where we have to stop with this session, but I am pretty sure that Pastor Moses had, I have a great time. These are good points that he makes in the conversation. I enjoy every second of it. This is Professional Lunch again. My name is Rico Aladdin, and today I had Pastor Moses here for a great conversation. And now this is the moment that I tell you, it's up to you to make today a great day. So have a great day.